Hey guys, welcome to More Than Real Estate. And we just got done talking to an amazing family. We had Robin Ralston and we had Ashley Enos on, and they are the Ralston Family Farms. They are so cool because they are doing one of the most unique things they could do at a farm, which is regenerative growing. And they do a huge amount of rice every year. And then they do self-selling to consumers. They don't do the normal practice of going around and the co-op systems, and they're only in the 1%, Jodi, of the entire nation that do this process. So 99% of everybody else does this, and they do something completely different.
And I love that they started they're an Arkansas original family farm that started like 30 years ago and just built this incredible business based on grit and all the things that it takes to run a farm these days. And really, we got to dig into the struggles of what the farming industry is experiencing, especially with the family dynamic behind it, but how that also has propelled them to make it through a lot of hard times. It was a fantastic
visionaries
interview.
In so many different ways. We don't want to spoil it, so we're going to let you look at this now. Ashley and Robin Ralston, thank you all for being here today. We're really excited about this conversation that we're going to have today about your family farm, all the operations of it, how unique it is, how big it is, all these things that y'all do that are different than what people probably think farming is today, how you do it. So we're really excited about all this.
Yes, we understand you're a multi-generational farm, which is so fun to talk about here in Arkansas. And so tell us a little bit about the story. How did the Ralston Family Farm get started? Let's start there.
Well, okay. Thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
We're excited about being here. My husband's family, the Ralstons, have been in agriculture since I came over from Scotland for 10 centuries, or not 10 centuries. You can cut that.
Yeah.
10 generations.
Yes.
The Ralstons have been in agriculture, either on the cattle side or the row crop side, or anything to do with agriculture they've been a part of. So my husband and I, we bought where we're at now in the 1990s, and Matthew was a little guy. The girls were off at college, and we decided we were just going to go ahead and move out to the farm, so we did. And we started in with just the traditional soybean, corn, wheat, milo kind of thing, and then we got into rice. And we zero cleared a lot of fields, and that really changed the operation about how we could manage the rice crop. We didn't have to put up any levees. It was easier to mitigate the water, and so from there, we just kept on growing our rice crops, and we expanded the acreage to the rice.
Wow.
Every year
every year you expanded in your amount that you're harvesting and growing, or did you add on acres at that point?
Yeah, we added on. When we first bought that farm, it was about 1,600 acres, so we've added on the years. Yeah.
So in the very beginning, just you and Tim starting out, what was your role and what was his role? And were you out there on a tractor, Robin?
I was on a tractor. I miss those days. Yes. I do. I miss those days. Yeah,
the good old days. Huh?
We had some good help. We had Jimmy Epperson that helped us, and it didn't take as many people then to do is what it does now. But now, even though now the equipment is so big that you can cover a lot more acreage than what you did when we first started. You didn't have to have, you had to have more tractors because they didn't have the horsepower. And so, they've really come a long way with a lot of the equipment.
The innovation in the equipment, I'm sure.
Yeah.
How much time would you say it cuts down these days, just based on the upgraded equipment?
Quite a bit. And now they have GPS, and they have all the data that you can get from the field. It shows your yields. They've got it down to such a great technology that they can show you if you need to spray, where the weeds are. It's just,
wow.
It's a lot more functional, and which saves you money in the end. I mean, you pay for it with the equipment,
sure,
but it still saves it in the end. So you can get over a lot more land in a lot less time.
So where you started was a couple with maybe just a few farm hands, and that was, let's see, 30 35 years ago,
Something,
25
in the 1990s,
90s-ish. And
Yeah.
then, so today, tell us kind of over that period of time how you have evolved and what the farm looks like today. And specifically, I want to hear from Ashley and just what each family member does.
Okay.
Just a side note here is that Caleb and I also work for Moore & Company, the family business. And I think we can relate so much in the back operations of someone that just works for maybe a corporation or another business that is not related to them.
Right.
Their dynamics are absolutely different. And different meaning I'm thankful. I'm pleased to work for a family business, but it looks different in every area, from how you make decisions to how you lead the company to what your future vision is in your own, because really it's just an everyday pick it up and grind, and we do it because we love it and we support each other.
Right.
So I want to hear from that side of your family as well.
Well, so we, my girls, Ashley and Jennifer, they graduated college and they had other careers, and they grew up on a farm. We had farms before we had the one where we're at now.
Okay.
We had registered beef-master cattle, and we've, like I said, we've always been in agriculture in one part or the other. And Ashley was teaching in Little Rock and decided to move back, she and Hadley, to Atkins. And Jennifer was in Heber, she and her husband, and at that time it was just Will, and they moved back to Atkins. And I don't know, it's hard to farm. It's a challenge. And so we knew we had to add value. And the best way that we knew how to do that, and Tim and I have been talking about for a while, to build a mill. And and then Matthew was coming on in age, and we knew that he wanted to farm. So that was another reason to add value. So we collectively as a family decided that we would go ahead and bite the bullet, not knowing what we were getting into.
Yeah.
And build a mill.
But you're
you're
doing it.
Yeah, we're God's in the lead on this, so we just have to rely on Him. But that was 2016, and our first customer is Blue Apron, and so because of that, we had to be BRC certified, and that's started out kind of, the girls kind of collectively were down that path, and then Ashley took that over, and she is our.
So Ashley, what is your role in the family? And as you saw this dynamic change as you grew up, I mean, did you think, hey, one day you saw yourself on the farm, or you're like, hey, they had you on that John Deere for so long, you're like, yeah, I'm coming back here. I mean,
no, I've never driven a tractor.
oh, what?
Oh, man.
I don't. Is that allowed?
We had cattle
They don't give
when
me
they
keys
were.
to
I thought if your last name was Ralston, you either drove a John Deere or a Case.
No. It never really occurred to me, because I just I have a history degree, and then I got an English for my master's, and I was just teaching. But my parents are visionaries, and so we have always. I don't think I've ever seen them work for anybody else. I know my dad did at one point, but we always grew up seeing them make really big, kind of risky choices to.
So you're saying they're entrepreneurial minded.
Always. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that sounds like that made an impact on you.
Definitely. We're all like that now, because we've seen that. Like, I thought everybody was that way. I thought that's just what you did. I didn't know that.
It's not. It's rare. It's a
Yeah.
great trait to have, I think, especially in this generation. So I love that.
Yeah, I've always had that mindset, because I thought that was the mindset to have, and I think they just pass it down. But my sister has that mindset, and she does sales, and so she takes big risk, and Matthew's willing to take big risk, and so it's just been passed down, and now we all have this one goal that we're working on. Mine, I'm just a real good drill sergeant, and I'm a little pushy, so I know how to get what I need out of people to successfully pass audits. And my sister, she said I was pushy yesterday, and I was like, you are in sales. And so I think maybe you might actually be pushy too. And then Matthew's great in farm. And I think if he wasn't doing farm, I think he would be in the military, but he applies that mindset to farming. So
That's good.
Yeah. So
I never thought of that. Yeah.
I don't remember the original question.
Hey, look, when Matthew, when me and your brother are talking, if he calls me up and he has a question about something, which happens every now and then, I usually just say, yes, I'll do it for you, because he's such a big guy. Like, I was like, I don't know if I want to tell him no.
Yeah.
Like, he's got that military, like, I'll just do it. That's fine, Matthew. I'll do it. Yeah.
We like to pull some pranks, but you have to make sure it's going to be successful if you pull a prank on Matthew. Because what you are going to get back in return is not going to be worth it unless you just really went all in. So you have to think very carefully.
Yeah, I can see that happening
that.
for sure.
I want to jump back to something real quick. I think that I was going to ask a question of basically from the generations that have been in farming industry, and really I would say the skills, the mindset, the values, the legacy, what has been passed on from generation to generation, from 10 generations ago to today. And it sounds like entrepreneurship maybe is the mindset of maybe that legacy that's been passed down. Would you agree or disagree? And is that what you were speaking to a minute ago?
Yeah. So Mom's dad, my grandpa, he was an engineer, and his parents were sharecroppers.
You know, I thought they were sharecroppers until I really got down to it,
Yeah.
and they weren't.
They were just poor.
they farmed.
Actually, they were
just poor. Yeah. But interestingly enough, my granddad was farming my grandmother's great grandmother's land. Yeah.
Wow. Special.
So, none of that in
Yeah.
history got passed down, but once I started digging, then I saw the land deeds that went with it. So,
Wow.
yeah.
And I would have to say that is an uncommon thing these days, and it's getting rarer and rarer. As
It is.
So a statistic that I heard recently was that the next 5 years, even 10 years, we're going to see the largest movement of generational wealth from one generation to the next. Because of that reason right there, is just that as the deeds are being transferred and passed over, the entrepreneurial mindset is not also being passed down. And so the next generation is honestly doing their own thing, doing something different, but maybe not willing to put the grit in. And for reasonable purposes, it's hard work. And I will hit on that too in a minute. But I think that's something that we're going to start seeing.
Yeah. So I guess the question is that are you seeing that in on your side of it? You've been in the farming business for a long time. You're seeing it from a different generational viewpoint. But it seems from sitting on this side of the table that you're seeing a decline in overall farming in general, like whether it's small farms and to a degree larger farms, because of cost of equipment, cost of running the farm is unlike that it has been in the past. I mean, it's not.
That's right.
You can just have one tractor to farm 1,000 acres. You
Right.
can't do that.
No.
Like, you have to have so much equipment, and then you have to have it to the consumer's liking over here. So what you grow is maybe more unique or niche. So, I mean, do you see a decline in overall farming, and why do you think the reasons why?
Well, you don't have as many kids wanting to come. I guess we are a little different, and we're very blessed, but our kids have seen us struggle. And when you see your parents struggle, you really don't want anything to do with it. I'm sure that's why my dad decided to be an engineer instead of a farmer. But because Papa farmed with mules, so
Yeah.
it was just really tough then.
Yeah.
But you've got bigger corporations coming in. Like, there's some corporations that are buying up some farmland around them. They're not doing any kind of farming. They're planting trees, and they're doing it for the carbon credits.
Carbon credits,
And
right?
then they'll turn around and they'll sell those after their depreciation goes out. Yeah.
Yes.
So you have those that kind of compete for the land too, because they can afford to pay more for the land than a farmer. When Tim and I got married in 1981, you used to be able to find 80 acres anywhere. And even though that 80 acres probably wasn't going to make you a living, it was well worth buying the 80 acres, and it was a lot of added income. So it was like I could make that as my job, while Tim was selling tractors.
Yes.
And then we picked up some more land. He quit selling tractors and went on. It is really hard to find that 80 acres,
Affordable.
120 acres. Yeah, that's affordable for a somebody new to come in, and a younger kid, boy or girl,
Yeah.
and pick that up, because land is so high.
Right.
Equipment is so high. Cattle are so high. Even if you just want to run cattle on it, they're historically high. So it's harder for a younger person to get in to the business. And then if you have some people whose kids, they just don't want to do agriculture. It's too hard. The risk and reward is not there for them. And so they go and have other careers.
Robin, what was the statistic that you told me off camera earlier about 2025?
And the bankruptcies?
Yes.
So there's been more declared bankruptcies in Arkansas in 2025 in the first quarter than all of 2024.
Wow.
And
Wow.
now that didn't happen overnight. That's
Yeah.
been years, 2, 3 years or more of really struggling crop prices. Inputs are really high. Your profit is in your inputs.
Explain that. Your profit is in your input. So
Well,
what is?
Yeah. So if you sit there and, where combines, 10, 15 years ago was 300,000-400,000, now they're 700,000-800,000. So if the equipment is higher.
So your overhead
Yeah,
is more expensive.
The inputs are your seeds,
Easy
your
to-
fertilizer, any,
Okay.
herbicide, pesticide, any of these what it takes for a conventional crop
Right.
are skyrocketed. Well, the market's not
Yeah.
there
Right.
on what we're growing as a nation as a whole, on the soybeans, the corn, and the prices are very low. So when your inputs are high, your prices are low. on
You're
the
not cash
commodities,
flowing.
That's
Yeah.
right. You're not cash flowing.
So that's why you're seeing the decline, the bankruptcies
Yeah.
sky high, because
Yeah.
they can't keep up with the cost of just
No, they
the
can't.
fertilizer or anything else.
You can't.
That
You can't conventionally. You can't do that. And not all the bankruptcies are, the type to where they have to sell out. Some are to where they reconstruct the way that they're doing business and get rid of some debt, and hopefully they don't have to sell their land,
yeah.
and they can at least have a chance to come back and start over.
So is that? I'm going to ask a question, and then I don't want to get crazy here, but is that why you're seeing more of a push, say, over since the 90s? Really, we talked about this with Senator Davis. Is that we're seeing a trend right now of trying to go back to more of a natural way of growing, eating, cooking, and so all the bankruptcies and stuff. Do you think they're getting into more simplified ways of growing stuff, which means unhealthier way of doing things because it's cheaper?
Well, you're either conventional or you're organic or you're regenerative. And so we're regenerative. We're certified regenerative. That means
Right.
that we enter into a situation with a certification body that comes and does all of our testing. It makes us adhere to their standards, just like Ashley with the BRC. And they look over. So we're not just saying, when we've learned a lot. I mean, we kind of, before we started in on getting certified, we would say, we no-till, we do cover crops. We considered ourselves regenerative. When we got in the certification program, we realized that we were not.
Wow.
So education is a key, and you can't just assume that you're one way and you can't do one or two of the practices. You've got to do all the practices.
Yeah. So Ashley, are you in charge of all the certification stuff, like making sure everybody's doing their job on the regenerative?
Oh, no, that's Brittany. And Brittany
Okay.
has a degree in ag business. So she's over that.
Yeah, she and Matthew.
She and Matthew work on that
Yeah.
together. I only do food safety, so I do what happens in the mill, and that's where my
Okay.
scope stops. Brittany does regenerative, and that's what happens on the farm. And it's
Okay.
just a good divide of our interest and our skill sets. So
But
Love that.
it all works together.
It all works together.
It's one piece. If you didn't have any one of us. I mean, like somebody could come in and take my job. Lots of people do my job. But if my job wasn't there, then you wouldn't have the gluten-free and the kosher and the BRC and that thing. And if like Brittany's job wasn't there, then the Regenified, all that, the people who buy because of that wouldn't be there. I mean, and then mom and dad say, I don't even know what your job description is.
I don't know. I don't have
Make
a
sure
job
that the kids are doing their job.
Yeah.
That's what my dad would say. He's like, his job is to make sure I do my job.
They do everything well. It's kind of
your dad does.
no.
I'm a good delegator.
There you go.
They do everything well, and it's amazing.
The farm though is so inclusive of. That's what makes you guys so unique. And I want you to go real quick from list out the beginning of the process to the end as far as the mill, and then taking it to the consumer. You're like a farm to table, right? I mean, you could almost consider yourself farm to consumer, basically.
We call it farm to fork. Is that what we call it?
Farm to fork.
Farm to fork,
And how rare is that? What was it? Less than 1% here? What was this?
Well,
just
the way that they do their business, So the way that we on our research is, you tell us about what you do. Like, how does it start? How does it end in the mill? The regenerative, how does all that flow together? Because this is different. I mean, than what you typically see.
Well, so I will tell you, when we started out on the regenerative, when we got into Whole Foods, we were going to put regenerative farming, that we regeneratively farm, on the packaging, and they were like, no, you can't do that unless you're certified. So that made us, and I'm so thankful for that. That was just kind of a God thing. We were, like I said, we thought we were kind of already there and realized that we just weren't.
You weren't, sure.
So we looked at different companies, and Regenified is what we decided we would go ahead and do, because they were, so Gabe Brown, who's kind of like the grandfather of the regenerative movement, he's an understanding ag. And understanding ag is really the ones that come, and we have to give our plan to, and they go and they look and see to make sure that we do what we're going to do, but they do all the testing. And then Regenified is a certification body. They're two separate entities. We have to have one to have the other, basically, but they are two separate entities. And so we started down on that path and became certified with Regenified. So that changed up a lot of our farming practices, a lot of them. And we're glad.
Yeah,
give me an example for.
Well, so instead of having, like I said, we did cover crops. Instead of having one varietal of cover crop out there, now we have 13. We have, rye and oats and vetch and just turnips and radishes and clover, and we have all this because each thing contributes to the microbial activity in the soil. And there's 7 layers to that, right? Or 5 layers to the regenerative process,
there's
right? 5 tiers.
5 tiers. About how long would you say it takes a farm to get to the full regenerative process?
Well, it just depends on how much effort you put into it.
Sure.
And you're only held to a certain percentage. What I was going to tell you about Gabe is he is a farmer. He's a farmer, and he lost 3 wheat crops to hail. He couldn't get a loan, and so he decided, I've got to figure this out, and he had to put in a crop, so he self-educated. Even though he has 2 ag business degrees, he read Thomas Jefferson's books. He just really got into how they did it 200 years ago, applied those to his farming, and got a crop.
And it worked.
And it worked. And then he's just built on it ever since. And so when he comes and he speaks to people, he knows what he's talking about. These other companies, they were great in theory, but they had no practical application. So some of their things were way far out there. Sure. Like you couldn't apply it. It didn't make sense.
And the Ralston farm is on what stage, what tier are you currently at?
We're going to get audited at the end of this month, and so hopefully we'll be on tier 3. On tier 4 and 5, you're basically organic.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah. Of course, it's your choice. They don't say you don't have to use any chemicals, but there's really, the more you practice, the longer you practice it, the less you have to use any.
Which probably saves cost.
That's your inputs.
So you're
and
exactly.
that's your profit.
So your profit is over time going to exponentially. You'll
That's
probably see an
right.
increase in that too.
Yeah.
So regenerative overall is good overall, right?
It is. Well, it is, and it's better. It's also like our purple rice went from 8 grams of protein before we started our first year, and now it's 11 grams of protein.
Wow.
And that is nothing but the regenerative because the soil is healthier. So it's picking up the nutrients from the microbial activity in the soil.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it really is. And once you get into that, I mean, you get so passionate about it that
I'm
you
very
just,
passionate.
I am
Yeah, I
very
love it.
passionate about it. I do. I
And
love
everybody's
it.
going, what is she talking about?
Yeah.
Well, we really all are on a health basis because Ashley is taking classes on nutrition, and yeah, we're all kind of working towards
So
that.
go back real quick. I think we need to set parameters on you. You have a mill. So that's so start me from when you plant the seed.
Okay.
What happens then?
So
Where does it transfer
we'll,
to?
We'll plant the crop, then we'll harvest the crop, then we put that seed into our bins, and then it has to dry down to a certain moisture before you can mill it, and then we'll get the purchase orders, the POs come in, and then we'll know on our inventory what we have, and we'll know what our outgo is, and so we'll mill and package and distribute from the mill.
That's the key right there. I think you mill, you package, you distribute. And who else is doing that?
There's a few, but not very many.
That's got to be a hard. I mean, I'm looking at your website, and
Oh, it's
they
hard.
can be.
It's
They can order a 25-pound bulk
yeah.
thing, and it could go to Minnesota.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
we're nationwide.
Yeah, so it can go. It can go anywhere, and then y'all are on. Are y'all on Amazon too? So,
On Prime, yeah.
so I mean, that can just be like a whole thing of itself. Of, I mean, I'm sure during like everybody that we've talked to during COVID and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It was
We've
crazy.
got some COVID stories.
So I mean, was
We
that
never
not?
worked harder in our life.
Yeah, y'all were sending stuff out just constantly. Had to be
Yeah.
like you couldn't get it
No.
milled fast enough
No.
to get it out there and then.
No,
Yeah.
and then our retail picked up too because there was no rice on the shelves, and we hadn't been around for very long when COVID hit, and so Tim and I we would go in front of these buyers, so our information was in front of the buyers, and so when they sold out and nobody else could supply them, they started calling us. So we went from like 1,800 stores to like 36. We basically doubled our stores.
Wow.
Yeah, and we kept them. So I mean, COVID was tragic, and I hate
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
but it was beneficial.
God used
Yeah.
it. for
Yeah,
us.
God used it. There
Yeah.
you go.
What do you say the grit is that kept you guys going through that time?
Prayer.
How did the family
Yeah.
how did the family pull together during this?
We just worked our tails off, which is what we kind of always have done.
How were holidays? Were they fine?
What holidays,
You know?
right? Yeah. So,
I mean, was everybody happy at the end of the day?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
We shut down for a couple of weeks during Christmas, and
We enjoy our family time more now than we did before because it's more precious and it's a different dynamic than when you're at work because everybody's got their work hats on. Except for me and Mom sometimes though. And I'm just kidding. Don't
That's
put
the
that
ones.
in there.
That's why y'all are the ones here today, huh?
yeah.
we're the talkers of the group. But family time becomes even more special because you don't have to think about rice or even talk about it. It really is the best way.
Yeah, it's great.
So,
So, what is the percentage that you would you say? Hey, we're sending it out to Whole Foods here, and they have it on their shelf, like the retail, or we're sending it straight to the consumer on Amazon or through our website.
well,
Is there-
we have our retail. We have a room in the mill that's for online sales,
okay.
and then we have the dock that is separate for when they come and pick up the POs for the retail partners. And, we're in food service too. So we're with Benny Keith and Cisco and some of these others. And
Wow.
that's the pails. They get the 25-pound pails
Okay.
for restaurant use.
Right.
And so we have Lassiter that's over our online sales, and it's grown exponentially. So we're happy about that. And then then Jennifer works with the all the retailers, and we're in like 200 stores across the nation.
Wow.
So it's really
Wow.
grown. God has
love
really
this.
blessed us, but it's
It's a
been,
lot of
It
work.
has not been easy.
Yeah.
And how many employees do you currently have?
We have about 10 at the mill, and then we've got about 4 on the farm side.
Okay, plus the family. So total 20-ish?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Big.
a lot of the people that work in the mill, I mean, they're getting a livelihood, that
Sure.
they work hard for it.
Yeah, they
but
do.
it's a blessing to them. And it's a blessing to us, and speaks to mom and dad about how much they care about others and want it to succeed, not just for our brand, but for all the families that are involved, because they have kids and wives.
Well, and we do have a good crew. We have an excellent crew. We're very proud of them, and they're easy. They get along well with each other, and we're very blessed with people we work with.
I love that.
So to go back to the regenerative side of things, and it sounds to me like when you started that, you may be in a direction that you wanted to go, you didn't know exactly how to get there. But since you're at the, let's just say, tier 3, have you seen that it's opened up more market for you now that you've become more natural, holistic, organic, however you want to say that?
It has. I mean, we were the only rice in Whole Foods and we're in all the Whole Foods that was not organic. So now we're regenerative, and they like that. So yeah, you just have to work towards, and it goes. The regenerative farming is allowing us to continue farming. It's not easy, but it's easier with the regenerative, and hopefully, the longer we're in it, the easier it will become and more second nature. And it's getting that way.
And it's because you
getting
get to
that way.
allow the land to rest.
Right.
Right?
Well,
I mean,
you're feeding it.
You're feeding it, right? So,
Yeah.
biblical
Right.
narrative, right? So every, was it 7 years?
Yeah.
That they were supposed to let that field rest.
Yeah, we
right?
don't let it rest.
No, right. But it's the same. It's the same reason, right? Though
Well,
it's
it is.
it's because there needed to be this process, regenerative process, and it was a way to say, hey, I've got faith that I'm going to make it without this field being here, right? So there's a faith element to it too, but there was also, I think, there is you need to let you need to give back to the lands in a way that is a positive regrowth, and
Yeah.
it sounds like the regenerative thing is that, and it's also picking up on a trend that we're seeing with RFK and now under Health and Human Services, and we're seeing that in the state when Brianne's coming in here and she's talking to Senator Davis about all the things they're doing. It seems like what you're doing fits into the same bubble that we're seeing a trend in.
Yeah, No, we don't take crops out every 7 years, but what we do, another reason why you put the cover crops in is because if you have bare soil on there, the carbon's released. If you have a cover crop on there, it grabs the carbon and it brings it back down into the soil. So all that microbial activity is being fed, which enriches everything. It's really not any different than how you treat your own body and what you do. Do you eat well? Do you eat right? What do you put in it? It's the same concept.
Right?
Stewardship.
It's stewardship.
Is that, you feel like the passion behind it is that maybe the compare and contrasting from the biblical perspective of how God calls us to be good stewards
Yeah.
of what we've been given?
I mean, that's exactly right. You have a responsibility. We're in a position to where we know that we have a succession that's going to take place. Some people aren't like that, but I wish if they would only just give it a shot and go down that path. I think that they could see some really good results, and financially and in their crops as well. Now, I know it's been asked of us, your yields aren't as much. The first year I would say that's true, but after that, it's not. Our yields are good. They're just as good as what they were.
It took a year to get off.
Well, it's
and
a
then
learning curve,
Well,
too,
sure, yeah. Yeah, anytime you're learning
Yeah.
something that drastic in the way you're operating,
Well,
it's got to...
That's right.
Yeah.
And some of our cover crops were over 7 feet tall.
Oh,
So
wow.
when you go in there with a planter, there's a crimper before the drill. So it crimps down the cover crop, and then you drill through that.
Right.
So it's and we're still learning. I don't know if you'll ever not continue to learn.
You're right.
Which I don't see that as a terrible thing either.
No,
Yeah.
It keeps us young, keeps
No.
us on our toes.
Yeah, until I won't be able to think anymore.
Yeah.
But the other thing that y'all I studied up is that everything is on solar out there. Like the
Yes.
way that you operate, you have a 8-acre parcel that is just solar panels,
Yep,
right?
just solar.
I watched the video on YouTube.
Yeah, I did too.
That's
so
really
the,
great.
So the diesel, no diesel when you're pumping water into it. It's not
it's-
diesel pumps,
There's electric.
electric
Our
pumps.
pumps are
So what
electric,
made
yeah.
you go down that route? It's the same thought process with the other side.
It is. Now we were grandfathered in on it as far as the grant money, and then on the conversion rate on what we use, we get 1-for-1 on that. So that was beneficial. As it stands now, I don't think we would have done it.
Okay.
It wouldn't have made sense, but it makes sense. It made sense for us to be able to do that.
Okay.
So when we put that in, it's 125%.
Okay.
So any future that we put in there, it'll cover that too. So
Okay.
yeah, it runs a mill. It runs a mill. All our pumps.
Wow.
The shops. Yeah.
It's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And-
it's neat.
And to go on that point, I keep seeing that zero waste that you're doing, which I explain what that looks like in farming world. Zero waste.
on the rice.
Yes, or
Well, so every part when you get in on the husk, that goes in chicken houses. The bran goes to feed cattle. We even have a negative air that gets all the dust out of the milling.
Wow.
And it can be fed to cattle too. So every part of the rice can be utilized.
Can
The
be
stubble,
utilized.
so that was, I don't know, somebody was doing the video and they were showing rice stands in water. That's what that mostly does, right? It has to be sub-aquatic.
Well, we do a AWD method that's an alternate wet and dry. So what the research shows, if you keep a continual flood on your rice fields, it creates methane, which increases arsenic in your soil. So we don't do that. We do
Okay.
the opposite. We only put the water on pivotal growth points
Okay.
of the rice, and then we'll bring it off.
Okay.
And we can do that because it's zero cleared. So it's easy for us to do that. Whereas if we had a lot of levees and all that, it would be a lot harder.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Zero cleared means you're grading. That's how that's
right.
graded.
It's at a zero level.
Right.
yeah.
It's at zero
Like a
level.
bathtub.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
And Dad, they did that a long time ago. They did that
Yeah.
way before the mill. So visionaries. I mean, I just they see things that are going to come before.
That's a dad thing.
Yeah. So since you're the next generation of visionary, what do you see the next generation vision? What's the vision for the farm? If you can speak to that, and I'm talking 5 years, and then also give me like a 20-year. Where do you want to take this?
I'm usually behind the curve because I just want everybody to stay the same and everything to be just exactly
Okay.
like it is.
Growth
When
mindset.
it comes to my family, I'm like, everybody just stay right here. We're all good right here. We're good right here.
We're happy.
Yeah. But Jennifer and Dad and Mom, they usually have a vision for the farm. I'm in ministry, so my vision, that's where I apply my visionary, like where I want to be and what I want to do. That sounds like a lot of me. Can you take that out?
Yeah.
Nice.
My visionary is towards ministry because that's what I'm passionate about. But I'm also passionate about my family. So I work at the farm because I'm passionate about my family and helping them. And they are passionate about the farming aspect. So usually they come up with, this is where we're headed in the farm. And I just try to pray over everything. That's my job.
Now, having brothers, having a brother that's in this business too. I mean, you have to have those conversations with your siblings about, hey, what does the farm look like 5 years from now, 10 years from now? I mean, what did they say, or what are y'all talking about? Like, how could that look with the three of you guys?
I wouldn't think we have conversations like that. Our parents are such leaders that I'm not ready for any conversation like that. I don't think any of us have had conversations like that. We just try to keep up with them and learn. And I don't know, in like 20 years, we will have conversations like that. But
Well,
yeah.
maybe Robin, you and Tim, what do you hope that maybe happens to the farm? Your legacy.
Well, whoever wants to participate in it, the girls really don't. They have their own interest. Matthew's the one that really puts all his time and effort into the farm.
And
But
they
in saying that, it's still a family farm.
Sure.
You know,
They
so.
recently built a home out there on
They
the
did.
farm.
Uh-huh.
So they're pretty committed now. You know, they're pretty invested if
Yeah.
the farm were to go anywhere.
Yeah, and both Matthew and Brittany are they love the farming end of it, really.
Love that.
Much more than the mill end of it, you know. But and their kids are very interested in the farm. Like told you earlier, Annabelle was excited that on her 8th birthday that her daddy was going to teach her how to check the cattle like he did when he was 8 years old. And so it's good to see that enthusiasm.
It is.
Know. It just really boils down to, on all of it, nothing is more important than your family.
Yeah.
And nobody is higher than your family than the Lord.
Right.
Yeah.
So whatever happens, you know, you can make your plans, but that's all you can do, and try to make that to fruition. But
Absolutely.
As far as like I'm concerned, like my role is to serve my family. Like if they were making cars, I would be in there.
You'd be a part of it.
Figuring out how to do paperwork for cars. I just want to serve my family.
I love that.
And my sister, I mean, I can't speak for her, but I think she is the same way. You know, she just wants to be a part of what's going on.
Yeah.
And Matthew's like that too, and he has an interest in farming. And I have an interest in it, but my interest comes because I'm interested in my family. So,
Yeah.
and I think that's still okay. I think I don't have to like love it, because if people ask me all the time, and I'm like, here's what I say: am I praying for rain, or am I praying that it doesn't rain?
Yeah.
That's like my main interest. Because I'll think I'm supposed to pray for rain, and Dad's like, no, we don't need rain. I'm like, okay, I got to switch that around. And like that's my
That's
interest.
funny. It's funny you say that, because when I see Matthew at church, I tease him all the time. It's like, you're never happy. Like if it's raining outside, you're not happy. If it's dry
true.
outside, you're not happy.
Yeah,
I said,
that's
so
true.
the farmers, I mean, it's just, hey, it's too sunny. It's not sunny enough.
Yeah.
You know,
and
it's
you got to
like-
know which side to pray on.
Pray.
Yeah.
Well, we have had a wet year, wet 2025, I would say,
Yeah.
and which falls into that unpredictableness that
Oh, yeah.
farming is all about.
you know, you've got to have faith to farm, or any aspect of agriculture. It's just too unpredictable. You've got too many variables out there that you have to deal with on pricing and inputs, and you know, it's like our farm bill. We were supposed to have a farm bill this year. Last year, we're on the second year of the extension, and we're going off of the 5-year farm plan that we have now is from 2000, going off of 2012 on some of the pricing aspects of it, and it's, you know, that needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
And I really don't know why they can't do that.
That's a federal bill, right?
Yeah.
That's a federal
That's
bill.
federal.
And
It's not state.
Senator Bozeman is the chair of the agriculture.
He's trying. You know,
yeah.
I do think he's trying, but they need to try harder.
Yeah.
And it's not just Arkansas that is having; it's the whole nation. The
Yeah.
whole nation is having. They're in terrible straits, and it doesn't have to be that way.
And it
shouldn't
doesn't
be
have
that
to.
way.
Well, and I agree, because I think that's how our country was founded. A lot of right.
Yeah.
We had a lot of agriculture.
Yeah, they were
Years-
all agri.
200
Well, the
years
number
ago.
one industry in the state is agriculture.
agriculture.
I mean, there's a lot that goes
Tourism
into
is
that.
number 2.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's a big deal. I mean, the farm bill is always been a huge. They keep, you know, these add-ons, I think, are the one thing, is from my understanding of they have the bill ready to go, and then somebody adds something else on, it kills
Well,
it.
you know, I don't want to get too political.
It's okay. You can.
So,
Well, it's just
We
part
won't
of
get
it.
into that.
You did mention something a minute ago, though. I wanted to go back to. Jodi and I, we have talked about insurance on a housing side of things, and how insane the insurance has been. And really what it comes down to is it's unaffordable for them to buy a house, not because of the interest rate, not because of the purchase price necessarily, but when they go and get a quote from the insurance company,
Yeah.
they're like, I can't afford another $2,000 a year
right.
payment on top of all this. And it's just continuing to go up so much. I mean, we could talk about that for a long time, but your insurance for farm is different. It's the similar but different. Are you seeing the same problems on your
yeah.
side of the insurance world as we've seen on the housing side? Are you seeing that on the farming side?
Yes, we were with Farm Bureau for a lot of years and had to leave because of the rate that they jumped from one year to another. Now we're with a really good insurance company, and we're very pleased with them. And in saying that, it's very expensive. It's expensive on, for the property insurance, liability, workman's comp, just the whole aspect of it. But you have to have it. You have to have it.
Right. Yeah.
So it's, yeah.
Is it, what do you see the reason? Has there been that many, so the natural disaster side of things on the housing side, if you just kind of go down the list of the hurricanes, the fires in California, the flooding, like it's since 2021, they've had record numbers of natural disasters and claims. On the farming side, is it the same reason? Is it natural disasters that you're seeing that high of a rate that's gone up?
Probably to some extent, yeah, I would say. But now your crop insurance is different than what your liability insurance is going to be. It's through a different companies.
Talk to me about, because I don't understand the crop insurance.
Well, so you take out crop insurance, and it's up to you. You can take out like a DAP. It's a very minimum that you can take out, and then you can go on the insurance will cover a certain percentage of a loss, and it's a gamble. Are you going to pay this? And you either have to pay it, or if a natural disaster happens and you lose your crop or you have damage, then it's handy to have.
Yeah.
So, but did you seen that go up as well? That side of it?
Yes, but not like the other insurance.
Not like the liability
That's
insurance
right.
has.
Right.
Because the replacement cost is what's keeping the liability. So if you look at your tractors, your mill, everything else, if a tornado comes through and knocks that out, the cost to replace that's more expensive than, say, the crops would be.
Well, it's really kind of all relative. But I think it boils down to the individual company that you're doing business with as far as the percentage. And Arkansas doesn't have any legislature that shows that the insurance companies can only go up an incremental amount.
Ooh.
Which we need.
Yeah.
So that would be helpful. And
so they can just change it from year to year.
They can, and they
depending
do.
on whatever they choose.
yeah.
Ooh,
Are you saying
that's
just
tough.
on the farm side, or are you saying just in general?
In general.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. In California, they're struggling with that. We've talked about this. You have people on State Farm who have tried to go up on insurance, and they're like, hey, we need to go up 25%. But California's saying, no, we're not going to let you up 25%. Then State Farm's saying, well, then I'm just going to pull out of California altogether because I can't afford what's going on here. And so from a business perspective, I get what State Farm's saying. From a consumer point of view, it's like, yeah, we need something to say, you can't gouge us
Right.
from
That's
just
right.
going up for no reason. Like, you have to have a legitimate reason for wanting to go up
Yeah.
certain amount.
And I mean, I get it. There's been an astronomical amount of disasters, and they're tragic, and you hate it. I don't know what the answer is to it. I really don't, because I can understand. I don't understand going up for the sake of going up.
That's right.
But
Yeah.
I do understand if you have cost involved that, you need to have that covered.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
So I don't know.
I don't know either, but it's been I don't think we're going to see that problem go away anytime soon.
I don't think
And I
so.
think, and it's only going to get worse in these other areas because they're going to have to make up the difference. So if they're not, if they're making a profit in this area, they're going to go up even more to offset losses over on this
That's
side of
right.
things. So
Yeah. I mean,
I
that's
think
right. It's a business.
It's a business. That's what
Yeah.
that's what they're doing. So
Yeah.
on y'all's business moving forward, though, do you see anything in the future, like looking around the curve here? Because Jodi and I, in real estate, we have to look around the corner and see what's coming. Do you see anything that could be coming that could be beneficial to the farming industry? I know you're talking about a farming bill, but what could be the beneficial things that could be coming, and then what could be coming that you're like, hey, we got to be on the lookout for something like this?
Well, on the meal side, one of the reasons why we started growing these different varietals of rice is because we needed to differentiate ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So if we only offered Southern long grain rice like all the other, rices
You need
of
to
the world do,
diversify, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have a competitive edge to what we were doing. And plus, we wanted to grow something that was beneficial, healthy, and nutritional, and that tasted good. And so when you grow your own, you mill your own, you have those options. You can do that. We on innovation on the mill, so we've come out with the 90-second heat neat, and then we've got some other innovation coming out. So you just have to keep on plugging away and getting that going forward. You can't just sit on your laurels on the same product that you have, because
That's
that's
right.
just not the way that
even
it is.
Well, a year or two ago, you changed your packaging.
We did.
And what was the reason behind that? I heard you got feedback potentially.
We did a survey, and one of the last things that they noticed on the packaging was our brand name. So we need to come out and, even though we have a patent on the carton,
Sure.
so nobody else in the rice industry.
I love the carton.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it looks,
Yeah.
it looks, I don't know.
Mom found that one.
It's great.
Thank you.
And now it's multicolored, right? Or
Yeah.
different colors for
That's
each
right.
different type of
Yeah,
rice.
That's right. So we hired an agency, and they worked with the graphics on it, and then we're taking that same concept onto the packaging on the heat need and all the other innovation that we've got coming out.
Have you seen a profit increase just from maybe the packaging? Have you
It has
noticed a
gotten
difference?
us in a lot of places.
Places.
On the,
Okay.
on the
And I bet it may be too soon to even really tell, because it's not been enough time really. But probably in 5 years, you'll notice a difference from when you got started.
They'll
Well-
change it in 5 years too.
And
Yeah,
it
we
will.
may change. We'll always have the carton.
That's a good
But,
point. Yeah.
I'll be there for the retro. I'll be like,
I know.
go
The
back to the
retro, yeah.
beginning.
No, I mean, the mill is doing better year over year.
Yeah.
It's having a percentage of growth, and so
great.
that's what you can hope for.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd be concerned if it went from 0 to 100.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Right.
when you're growing a good percentage every year, then you know that you're on the right track. And it's, not everything we've done has worked.
Oh, and that's
So-
the name of the game, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is.
It's trial and error.
Yeah.
You own your own business.
Yeah,
you're
right.
you're really like you're paving the way, because again, there's not probably a manual on exactly what
There
you guys
is
do.
not.
Yeah.
We
And
could
it-
write one.
Yes,
Well, you're
could.
less than. I mean, statistically, you're less than 1% of the overall rice
Yeah.
farmers in the country
And
that
in
are
this
doing
day
it
and
this
age.
way.
To,
So,
to me, we're sitting in the middle of a miracle. I mean, that's how I feel about it.
That's cool,
I'm
actually.
gonna cry.
It's okay.
I think my parents have.
Oh,
I know.
if you cry, I'll cry.
I'm
So you
I'm such a
can't do
crybaby.
that.
Like a Joseph anointing, and I've always seen that God's using them for those hard times to provide the grain, because they'll put the work in and they'll trust God, and we all are doing this because we've seen them and we trust them, and so we've turned our lives upside down to follow them because we see the hand of God on their lives, and we're part of that generational blessing. And
Wow, that's
I think
wonderful.
I think the Lord will always be with us. I think every time we've hit a hard spot, He has been there and He has turned it in miraculous ways. I mean, we had a flood and we should have been devastated. Instead, the governor sent helicopters to our yard to pick up sandbags. I mean, that's a miracle, and we've seen it happen over and over, and I've seen it my whole life. I've been walking it my whole life, watching it. So
That's cool.
That's
that-
great.
I'm gonna cry.
Yeah.
So,
I
That's
feel
great.
so blessed, and
Well,
my brother and sister, we're all so blessed, and we think, what did we do to deserve all this?
Oh,
And it's true,
well-
though. It's true.
well, so for future farmers, like let's say someone's watching this, listening to this, going, I want that passion, and I like to farm, and maybe something that they've always thought about. What would be your advice to somebody that's just getting started? And it could be a leadership quality, or it could be simple as start regenerative and don't start commercial right away, or conventional, I should say.
Yeah. You just really have to have that. First of all, you have to have that calling. Then you have to have the passion. You have to have the family support. Because, if I mean, Tim and I really should have had like 10 other kids because our kids are so great. And they're, so, but we're thankful for the 3. And plus, their spouses are our kids too, So you just really, and you can't get into anything, whatever you do in life, you can't get into it for just some money. If you get into it for just some money, you're going to be let down, disappointed, and it will never, ever work, no matter what field you go into.
Right.
So, if you feel called towards it, then work on it, get your passion. You don't have to have a degree to go into farming. Tim and I don't have degrees. Matthew went to college, but he has the best teacher in his dad. So when he came back saying, they don't know as much as you do, then you don't have to have a degree to go into anything in agriculture. You just really have to have a calling and a passion.
Right.
Work hard.
And a good work ethic.
Work ethic.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because my husband can outwork me twice
Wow.
every day.
Incredible.
Then wonder what's next.
Yeah. And what's next?
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Caleb, do you have any more rapid fire
Yeah,
questions?
well,
What are
so
you thinking?
we always try to finish up on a couple of questions. One is, and Ashley, I'm going to start with you. Give me a book or 2 or 3 that you're like, these books have changed my life. Like, you got to read these books, and it could have something to do with, the farming or the whatever that you really just a passionate book or something that's really that you like.
Can I plug my own books?
Yes.
Yes, you can, and plug your own podcast. You have a podcast too, so
Okay, so my podcast is called Closer to Jesus, and it's trying to help people build a relationship and get around those hard questions and just spark interest into like the relationship part of Jesus. Oh, sorry. Can I start that over? Okay. So my podcast is called Closer to Jesus, and the point or 1, 2, 3. My podcast is called Closer to Jesus, and the hope is that people will hear something they haven't heard before that would help them grow in relationship. So maybe a place of confusion, or it would spark some kind of interest in an area to dive into the actual knowing Jesus, that if we draw closer to him, he draws closer to us. But it takes interest, and it does take a little bit of effort and in being intentional to get all you can have of him. So, that's the goal. And then I have 5 books that I've written. My last one is called Closer, and it's just stuff I've written in prayer, where he drew me into conversation, and I recorded it just for myself for a couple of years, and then I turned that into a book. And I have a website. It's ashleyenos.com.
Wow. Ashley, I will link, along with the Ralston, the Family Rice, and maybe some recipes, I'll link your podcast and your books too. That's great.
Yeah,
so
thanks.
I love this.
I'm good at doing. I'm not good at selling. I need my sister, but so I'm like, here, let me just give these things away. But the podcast, it doesn't. I don't know what's good or what's not, but I know the reach, and I know that it's reaching people in other countries that I could never personally meet. So that's pretty cool. So,
that is.
Yeah.
that's really cool. So that's a great story. And Robin, what about some books? I know you've read all of Ashley's books. Yeah,
all of Ashley Enos's books.
Yes,
I can recommend all of those. They're heartfelt, and they do draw you closer to Jesus. That's right. I'm reading Barbara Kingsolver's book on animal, vegetable, mineral.
Okay.
That's a good book that if you want to read her story about them going back to their family farm, that's a pretty, and it's I don't know if you know who Barbara Kingsolver is or not. She's not as talented as Ashley Enos.
Whatever.
But, she's written some really impressive books, but she this is her personal journey of inheriting. They were in Arizona. She and her family inherited the family farm in North Carolina and moved back there, and were very intentional on only eating local and in season, and it's her family's journey on doing that. So that's pretty inspirational too. And then Dirt to Soil by Gabe Brown that tells you all that you want to know about regenerative farming in really layman's terms.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all laid out there, and it's very, very beneficial if
Yeah.
you want to learn about regenerative.
Yeah. Okay.
One thing that we didn't do, we didn't talk about, is one thing that we felt called for to do is to give back on our rice. So we make a lot of donations to the food bank, and Ashley can speak more about the volume that we do. And it's not about the volume, and we don't put it out there really because it's not about us, but it is a mission of ours.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that you're one of the largest donators to the food bank, to the Arkansas Food Bank online.
I didn't know that.
And I love that. I think that's wonderful. So do you take a certain percentage, or is it just based on, is it a yearly give, or is it
It's an
annual give?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we try to do more every year than what we did the year before.
Wow.
So it is just because God has blessed us so richly
Absolutely.
that it's really, that's what we're called to do, is to share that.
Stewardship.
That's right.
Yep.
To use our resources wisely, give
Yeah.
back as you were given.
Yeah. And now with the funding being cut from some of these food banks, it's really important, like Arkansas, the River Valley Food for Kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They really can use people's time and money
Right.
to help feed these kids.
And Ashley, do you help set all that stuff up? I mean,
Yes, in the beginning, was kind of over that, and then I went back to teaching. So now I teach full time, and I work there part time, and it's more of just dad and mom and discussions and that kind of whoever. But mom and dad have fed. I mean, and I guess all of us.
That's our whole family.
But they make the decisions to give, and they set the tone for it, and then. And it's become part of our culture, that they're going to give. And if we have extra, we're going to give, because they have this understanding that when you give, it's more blessed to give than to receive. And you have to put out, or else God's not going to put in. So it's just part of that regenerative process.
It is. That's a good. There you go.
Yeah.
That if you don't feed the giving, then the flow dries up too.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
the
Sounds like
Yeah.
a topic for the next blog.
Yeah.
The Lord wants us to be pretty wise, and He tells us who He is and how He works. And so if we can get a hold of that and work with Him in that structure, it's amazing. And that's why part of the reason why I think God will always be with us, because they give to those that need it, and that's not going to dry up. That will always be a part of it. So
Wonderful. Well said.
well,
Is there
thanks.
anything else that's on your mind that you want to share to anybody out there?
No, you have to ask the questions, and then we can
I get it.
Well, we've been reading. Jodi and I have been reading a book, and actually, Jacob's the one that get us on the guy. Who's,
Yeah,
what's his
Jacob.
name? What's the guy's name that you? Jamie Winthrop, right? And he's written a book, and it was Fearless.
I just call it fearless.
Yeah, it's called
Living Fearless.
That's what we
Living
call it.
Fearless. And
Jacob's
it was,
agreeing to that.
Great book. And
I finished it this morning.
Yeah, Jodi.
Oh, really?
I
It
finished
takes
it
Jodi
this
6
morning.
months to read one book, so I'm just glad that she
She's a
finished
busy
this.
girl.
She this is maybe the 3rd book she's ever finished since we've been married. So I'm super excited that she
I
finished
start
the book.
a lot of books, Robin.
She gets halfway
I
through them.
understand that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mom's good at that too.
So, but it's been really good to read this together because it's and you would really like this book too, because it's talking about your identity and what is your identity in. And a lot of times we let fear
That's right.
and dictate what our identity is or isn't, and that's not what God wants.
That's right.
It's not what. It's not at all what we are supposed to do. So sometimes those years come and they're famine, like you said with Joseph, right? There's 7 years. Oh gosh, what am I going to do? And in reality is that there were 7 years of feast, and that God was really good. You just prepare, right? And so there was a great book for Jodi and I to go to. So to speak to what you were saying earlier, it was kind of like, it's been good for us to hear that, to feel that, and that's the reason why we do the podcast the way we do. It's more than just real estate. It's more than
Right.
just farming
That's
for you
right.
guys. It's more than that.
It's community.
It's community about serving others more than ourselves, and that in turn gives us the greatest reward ever,
Yes.
right? It's not monetary.
That's right.
It's about the people that we serve.
Well, how you spoke to taking risks, the family takes big risks, but it's because you have big faith to take the risk and you don't
Yeah.
live in fear. They may be calculated risks, and that's wise, but fear so many times squelches the ability to live out our purpose, right?
Yeah.
So I guess that's my takeaway from the book and from what you're saying too. So this was a blessing. I appreciate you guys
Oh, we
sharing all your
appreciate
thoughts,
your asking
and
us.
Yeah.
we've enjoyed this chat. So
We have to.
Yeah, it's the phenomenal way of doing business. Like I said, you're
Unique.
less than 1% of what is traditionally being done. Y'all are in the 1%. So it's a very interesting, very great way of doing business. Really appreciate you guys coming on. Love your family.
Yeah.
We get to see Brittany and Matthew
Yeah.
every now and then. Love your family. So we hopefully will get to have you in at a later date
Sure, we'd love
and
to.
and talk more about some of the changes that y'all are seeing and stuff. So thank you both for being here today.
Well, thank you.
Thank you
Yeah.
for having us.
Thank you both.